What's going on, guys? Aaron from Top Tier Gaming here, and today I'm coming at you with a P.U.N.K deck profile for 2023, the new year, and we still find ourselves sort of stuck in a very heavy tier limit format. Tier limit's essentially still tier 0. However, we're approaching Amazing Defenders just released this week, and we're approaching Photon Hypernova. So I do keep those in mind when I'm thinking about what decks I want to profile, and P.U.N.K is a deck I've actually been enjoying a lot. It's a deck I got into recently, the past few days, 5 days maybe now by the time this goes up. And I've been having a lot of fun with the deck, a lot of success. I've actually had a lot of people on Dueling Book actually message me and ask for the P.U.N.K list. And I've been working with a few things. I have a deck profile here on the screen that I'm going to kind of be going over, and it's the iteration. I'm going to show some games in this video, and this deck profile is based on the iteration I played these games in. Some things have changed, and I'll sort of mention that as I go through it. But yeah, before we get into the deck profile and the duels, I do want to let you guys know Discord link down below, along with all of our other social media links. Also, I'm trying to hit 13,000 subscribers. We're really close, so if you do enjoy this video content, you like what you see here, feel free to like and subscribe. It really helps me out and what I do here on the channel. And without further ado, let's start talking about the P.U.N.K deck. And P.U.N.K is essentially a lot of the decks I'm kind of known for playing, which are the one-card starter decks with 50 hand traps in them, right? They just have a really concise engine, and then they have so many flex spots. I'm pretty known for Evil Twin, Marincess, Rika. There was a few other decks I played with a very similar play style that I'm trying to think of now. I just played so many. They're the Cyburst type decks as well that just have so many hand traps with a small engine. P.U.N.K is very similar. You're running a very concise engine that can run a lot of flex spots. You look at the list, and I think I have 16 go second cards. And yeah, so just going through it really quickly, and this deck can play through so much because unlike some of the other one-card starter decks I played, this one also has so many extenders, right? So you look at the P.U.N.K engine, and it's very standard as far as what pure P.U.N.K would be. So we have 3 Xiamen, 3 Foxy Tune, 3 Ogre Dance, essentially 9 copies of Xiamen, because you really want to see her because she is the one-card starter. Even though if you just open Xiamen, you have to go for some plays that are kind of weak to hand traps, and you do have to have a discard for Foxy Tune. Then we have 2 Deer Note. I don't like 3 personally. I've tested a little bit with 3, especially because I'm running Desires, but I think I like 2. 2 Sharkusai, because, I mean, he's actually one of my favorite P.U.N.K monsters. He's insane. He's where a lot of my lines end up funneling into, because you want to end with him so that you have Amazing Dragon on your opponent's turn, but you also want to make the fusion to get access to more level 3 P.U.N.Ks in your deck. So, yep. And then you have the 1 Wagon, and you have the 1 Madam Spider. You do have to play these just because they're additional names that you need for comboing or having for Amazing Dragon, but more importantly, they search your spell and your trap respectively. And this, of course, the field spell is one of the craziest things about P.U.N.K. It's what made it a pure deck, is you can have this just constantly gain advantage, and it's what made the hand trap strategy for the purish version a lot better. And yeah, you really want to get access to your field spell, but you don't want to brick on it, so I'm only playing 2. I don't know when I switched from 1 to 2 actually, now that I'm thinking about what profile I'm showing you guys. I'm playing 2 in my current build, but I was on 1 for a long time, and that's because I wish I could only play 1 and just search it when I have access to Wagon. The problem is there's so many decks that alter your deck, so you have things like Tier Limits milling your deck, you have Runic banishing your deck, you have Kashtira eventually that are going to be banishing your deck, and if you lose your field spell, that's going to suck. So I feel like you're forced to play 2, bare minimum, so I am doing that. Then I'm running 2 Pot of Desires because this card's crazy, especially finishing your combo and then activating Desires for potentially 2 more interrupts is insane. Going second, it's a card that turns itself into 2 cards, so that's huge as well. The banish doesn't hurt too bad unless you banish all copies of Deer Note, all copies of Sharkusai, or all copies of Field Spell. And of course banishing 3 ofs suck, but there's no 1 ofs that you can banish that feel really bad. So yeah, most of the time Desires doesn't hurt at all. You're trying to end your combo with Desires, but sometimes going second you need a card this powerful as well. So it also helps with Foxy Tune discard and whatnot. And with your field spell, you just love having a draw 1 into a draw 2, right? 3 E-Telly, simple enough, works with the P.U.N.K engine, so you have 12 copies of Xiamen, but it's also a great extender for any of your P.U.N.K names. Called by the Grave and 3 Tactics. These are just really powerful cards, and again, Tactics fits the motif of like draw 1 into a draw 2. I mean, you have like 7 Pot of Greeds in this deck, and so many cards that generate an extra card, right? For some of the go second stuff in the build I'm showing you guys, I'm pretty sure it's like 3 Fenrir, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, 3 Valor, and a Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre you play because it's searchable, so you definitely want to have at least one of her, and she's crazy versus everything not named Tearlament. I've messed with a couple of different cards in here. So in this like sort of flex spot, ghost second card sort of part of the deck. Like I've messed with unicorns and a birth because I was playing a more heavy Kashtira version. I messed with the Magician Souls package because you can make Arclight, which is really nifty. I've messed with the Bystials. I've messed with siding the Bystials. So there's a lot of stuff you can do in this flex spot. I do like just running hand traps and like playing 40. But I think in like my more current build, I'm testing the Bystials to see how they work. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with that. And yeah, I just have a random side deck that doesn't have too much testing. You can see the cards there, and you know the side still needs some work. And the extra deck as well is weird. The only thing to note, I guess, about the extra deck is there's a lot of stuff I want to play and not enough room. And one thing that I'm building around is Kashtira Unicorn and like Diabolos, especially when Kashtira get big post Photon Hypernova. Like, I feel like you're forced to run 2 Jam Drive, 2 of the Rising Carp, and 2 Amazing Dragon, because if those get unicorned, it's really bad. So that's it for the deck profile part of this video. Now I'm going to go over a couple of games, just a few. I'm going to have to reset this page, aren't I, right here? Yeah, so hopping into the games, just going to go into it really quick. We have me right here at 933 rating versus my opponent. I'm Sean Pittman versus at 827 rating. If you watch a lot of DB Grinder, you might know who this guy is. But yeah, so going over this game like really quick. This isn't like a duel video, like I upload a duel video on my channel. This is part of the deck profile. So I just want to show you guys like what this deck can do. And like opening hands, I open Fenrir, Valor, Ash, Ogre Dance. My opponent is playing Branded, and he opens Egypt Chain, Bystial Magnamut, Poly, Aluber, Opening. So that's a really solid hand. But I'm going first, and he has no real hand traps from my hand here. So I'm just going to click fast forward, and you guys can watch this combo. And yeah, it's just 1 card combo with Fenrir, withdrawing, and then just opening 3 go second card, which means I'm guaranteed to have so many interrupts on my next turn. My opponent is going to Magnamut the Ogre Dance, fair enough. I'm going to banish it face down with the Fenrir. And then I'm just going to go for P.U.N.K combo, which is Foxy Tune for Shirakushi to make the Fusion. Fusion is going to give me access to Agon, which gives me access to Field Spell. And this is like a really good way to look at the combo and see how to play. I'm going to synchro those off to make Jam Drive 1, Deer Note 2 to bring back Shirakushi, get my free draws, special the Madam Spider I searched, especially because I already opened the Ghost Ogre, search the trap, get another draw, and like looking at what we end with, after that combo. Again, if it was too fast, feel free to just see how I play the deck. That's one of the reasons the duels are in this, so you guys can see how the deck actually plays. And let's just look at the interrupts we have. We have Barone, we have Jam Drive with Shirakushi, which is going to be a draw off of our field spell, and a bounce 3 or 4, so we'll just count that as 2 interrupts, even though it's a lot more than that. We have, if we get Dark Ruler, we could bring out another Shirakushi from our deck with the E-Telly, which is huge. We have a 3rd interrupt in Gabu, and then we have Ghost Ogre, Ash, and Effect Valor. So that's 6 interrupts with like 18 pounds of follow-up, which is just crazy. And then if he does anything in draw or standby where we can negate it with Barone, we can tag her out and bring back Fenrir. So yeah, it's insane, right? Like, our opponent's gonna search with his Magnamut, which is like, okay. Yeah, and like, his hand was crazy, but there's just no way you play through that, right? So, going into the next games, I'm going second, and I open Lava Golem, Tactics, Ogre Dance, Lightning Storm, Ogre Dance. This hand is, again, insane. 3 really powerful go second cards. I don't know if Lightning Storm was in the build I showed you guys, because I'm testing with so many different things right now. It's hard to keep up with like what profile I'm currently on, and I'm not going to show my most current version because I'm testing with a lot of things right now, and it's an option I'm considering for YCS Vegas, so I don't want to release anything crazy that I'm trying, right? So yeah, so opening hand for my part is pretty good. My opponent opened Scythe, Magnamut, Regained, Expulsion, and Egypt Chain, which is just awful. He opened 3 engine bricks, Scythe, Regained, and Expulsion. Those are just not good. Of course, the Bystial's brick if you don't have playable, so that's just what Bystials do, and Egypt Chain, sort of in the same vein. So his hand is not good, right? And he's just going to set 3 or activate 3 and pass. Now, what's funny, though, is I Lightning Storm, which allows him to Scythe, and that means there's, like, I can actually go for an OTK this turn if he didn't have the Magnum, and my starting line is attempting to try to OTK him by taking his monster with triple tactics talent. But once he reveals the Magnum, I change my line and just go for a good board, right? So I'm just gonna make my plays under essentially Scythe, which, you know, I still get all the draws I want. I still am able to draw many cards and set up Amazing Dragon on my opponent's turn, and this Amazing Dragon would bounce 3. So through Scythe, still setting up like 3 interrupts is pretty insane. And yeah, he attacks my Wagon there, so I get a draw. It's really important to remember Wagon's second effect. It's really good because it just gets you extra draws. It's a way to play into like Effect Veiler, Imperm, or them just attacking your monsters. So Wagon's second effect is very nice. My opponent's going to make Guardian Chimera here, and I let that happen. I don't Veiler the Dark when I knew that was a potential option because I know Guardian Chimera isn't really going to do anything. I'd rather say Veiler in case he's hiding a branded opening in hand or like a really good card to play, because now all this really does is let me summon my Fenrir the next turn, right? So that's really insane. My opponent sets Imperm and pass. I Lightning Storm the back row again, Ogre Dance for my search, special the Fenrir, and like, yeah, my opponent just scoops because, I mean, my hands were pretty solid game 1 and 2. Like, my opponent's game 1 was cracked as well, just not enough go second cards that actually did anything because that's just how branded is. And then, yeah, his go first hand this game was whack, but that's also a detriment of branded is all the engine bricks you have to play, the Bystials, the Edge Imp Chains, there's so many engine bricks. So yeah, going over one more game. Is this the one I wanted to go over? We have a couple replays here. Let's go over this one. So starting off, I win the rock, paper, scissors, going first, and just want to make sure this video isn't too long. Yeah, we're at like 11 minutes, so we can definitely show this game. So starting off, let's look at the opening hands before I do this too quickly. We have Fenrir, which is here, Ash, Ogre Dance, Zeoman, and Desires. Don't know why I went backwards, but that's just what I did. So yeah, that's a pretty solid hand for sure. Anytime you open like a way to Zeoman plus Fenrir, it feels insane. My opponent opens Taiyi, Nibiru. This card, if you're not expecting it in the format, can be really good against your deck though. Feather Duster, really powerful go second cards. Ecclesia and Mo Yi. So just going through the combo again, and since I already have Zeoman, I can go get Wagon, which plays around Imperm, Veiler to an extent. Like there was another line I could go for that isn't weak to Imperm or Veiler, but because I had Desires, I felt like I could go for the little bit more greedy play. And yeah, I'm just going to combo here again. I go into the Ryzen Carp line a lot because it just accesses everything. I draw second Desires off the Jam Session, which if I didn't have one would be insane, right? But yeah, I'm just able to make this full board like in this deck pretty consistently, and then you get so many interrupts, so many draws. It's really nice. So it's one of the reasons I've been liking P.U.N.K a lot recently. I'm able to set my cards. He's going to Nibiru, which I can Barone, and then because I negated already, I can just bring Fenrir out for free. My opponent's going to try to make plays, but Ash is definitely just the end of his career on his guy, or on his girl. That was Ecclesia. I'm going to Fenrir banish the Mo Yi, to which he can Long Yon, and then Amazing Dragon just ends his turn. So, I mean, I didn't even have to use 3 of my interrupts, and his hand was solid. Like, he had a really solid hand. It just didn't matter. Like, yeah, I mean, P.U.N.K can do so much if they open well and, like, aren't interrupted in multiple different ways. My opponent's going to start off with, you know, just Mo Yi reveal after specialing Vishuda. Opens double rivalry, but I do have the Lightning Storm. And now I'm just able to play through what is probably 0 interrupts and my opponent's scoop. So that was a really short one, so I'm glad I chose that one to show, just to not keep you guys here watching a bunch of random games when this is mostly a deck profile. But I did want to show off the deck and what I've been kind of doing with it. So yeah, that is going to be it for this video and sort of the P.U.N.K deck profile. I do plan to have an IRL, you know, like actual extensive in-depth profile like I like to do on this channel, just once I get all the cards in real life and take it to a tournament or a locals where I do well, and then I'll show it off to you guys. But yeah, tell me what you guys think of P.U.N.K down below, anything you're trying with the deck if you're playing it, anything you might want to mention. And yeah, this has been Aaron from Top Tier Gaming. Bye, YouTube.